Hello traders and welcome back to the Hot Stocks Outlook for March 6, 2020. Hope y'all are having a great week out in the financial markets, and as always, plenty to cover in this week's Outlook. So we're going to go ahead and start out here with Wells Fargo, one of the financials. We've also got Dick's Sporting Goods, Skechers. We've been looking at those shoe companies quite a bit. Rambus here, and lastly, Regeneron. And starting here with Wells Fargo, and really just a good example of what we've seen across many of the financials. But what we have here is daily price action. So each one of these candles represents a full and complete trading day, specifically for Wells Fargo here. And you'll see right up against that price data, you have a black line there and also a blue line. Now, the black line that you see there against the chart, that is actually a regular simple moving average, or what we refer to as the actual simple moving average. And all that does is really tell you where past prices have been. And this is really the weakness of many technical indicators, in that they only look back at past prices and they only look at the one market in question as if they're not driven by global market relationships. So what we're able to do is compare that black value to this blue line that's plotted each and every day on the chart. But for that blue value to be charted, Vantagepoint is performing a very sophisticated type of analysis known as intermarket analysis. So it's looking at relationships between markets and utilizing the technology of artificial neural networks to do it. So instead of just looking at past prices of Wells Fargo, what this software is able to do is look at relationships that can be within different ETFs, things like the broader indices like the S&P 500, global currencies, global interest rates, and it's able to understand how those market relationships are affecting and driving and influencing the price of Wells Fargo moving forward. And so what this is able to do is actually use that intermarket data to generate future prices. So you can think of that as prices of predictions that haven't yet occurred, and actually build that into the value of these indicators, turning what was a lagging indicator into a forward-looking predictive tool. So what we have here with these lines here is this blue line signaling that average prices are expected to start moving lower. And you can use that blue line as a good guide of where are average prices likely to be over the next few trading days. Now, in addition to that predicted moving average, you'll see at the very bottom of the chart here, we have a bar here that goes from red to green, back to red. And this as well updates every single trading day, but is a little different in that it's tuned to only look ahead 48 hours ahead and really forecast short-term strength or weakness in the market. So not the overall trend, but just short-term strength or weakness, whether it be some higher highs or lower lows over that 48 hours into the future. And lastly, you're actually given an intraday prediction. So you see that we have this shadow candle here generating a predicted high and a predicted low, so that you can go ahead and place limit orders in the market, really have everything set up before the next trading day to know, okay, what direction is the market headed? Is there some short-term strength or weakness I need to be aware of? And what's a good level to go ahead and accept prices? So we see here with Wells Fargo, and really, again, many of the financials and many stocks just in generally around 218, starting to see these crossovers to the downside. And you see how these predicted levels work, saying, look, if you want to get a short up near this predicted high, and for shorter term traders, you can target the predicted low, or as a trend trader, just hold on to that position as long as that blue line remains below the black line. And you see just a fantastic opportunity here to actually go ahead, get short the market, really make a nice amount of money here. We see the overall trend here down about really just 11 or 12 trading days, but the market down 13% from where those predicted high levels were hit, and then obviously still a lot of weakness forecasted in the future. Here's Dick's Sporting Goods. So we've been really following this over, really at the beginning of the year, seeing this market go into a downtrend, and we see once again really highlighting that, look, there's a new opportunity here. There's a crossover to the downside, weakness from the neural index. And again, using those predicted highs and lows, and all of these predicted high and low ranges that you see that they really plot forward. So you see after the trading day, we'll get a candle, whatever happens to occur here, will fill that space, and we can see how accurate all of those predictions are. So when you know, hey, look, I want to be short the market, ideally, I want to be getting shorts up near these predicted highs. And one of the great things about this software is its ability to adapt. So taking in that market data after each and every trading day, and then these neural networks plotting, okay, what is the overall moving average? Where are the next day's predicted highs and lows? And neural index, is that bullish or bearish here? You see, again, this market down 19%. Really, I know this predicted high was hit here, so about 18% from one of those levels. It's very easy to go ahead and not take a huge amount of risk, put in your stop loss, and that trend continuing to the downside. You see that blue line well below the black line. And again, a lot of weakness here, a lot of separation between that blue line and the black line value. Now, interestingly, shoe companies. So we keep bringing these in every week, whether it's, Steve Madden or Skechers. I think we brought in Crocs as well. But really the same thing here coming back. Again, that 217, right? When the market started to turn, you got a lot of stocks coming through the IntelliScan feature here, moving to the downside and letting you know that, look, the trend has now reversed. Look to go ahead and get short. And we see that, again, these predicted high levels, you may not hit them the first trading day or so. You can always go ahead and put on a position as a trend trader, but ideally looking towards those levels to go ahead and actually stake out a position. And certainly, you can add to your position at those levels. So go ahead and take a position and then, manage the opportunity off of those predicted levels that are coming through after each and every trading day. So again, really nice opportunity here. Just so much of this market moving to the downside, over 14% decline there in Skechers. And, if you trade options, it's really the same thing. Just understanding that, okay, well, this is where you want to go ahead and start, executing those options, whether you're buying puts or calls or strangles or whatever you might be doing there. But understanding that, look, the trend is now down. The bias should be to the short side, and where you can add to those positions, whether it's through the shares or through additional option contracts at those predicted high and low levels. Here, Rambus, so a little bit of the technology space. Again, very similar. So much of the market, becomes correlated, and this is why you want a tool that's looking at those intermarket relationships. So it's looking at things like, the technology ETF. It's looking at things like the S&P and the NASDAQ, looking at global currencies, looking at other related tech stocks, and letting you know that, look, there's no reason to be long here. All of these tools really moving to the downside here. Blue line crossing below the black line. You see a little bit of strength from the neural index coming in here. And just, again, I point this out often, that often you'll see the market trade above the predicted moving average. Doesn't mean the trend is now, moving to the upside or anything like that, but you're likely to see some higher prices over those subsequent 48-hour periods where that neural index gets bullish. So again, really nice opportunity to the short side here in the market. I'm sure we hit some of these predicted highs earlier in the move here. Pretty much these first two trading days here before things really start to decelerate to the downside. But 14% move to the downside there in shares of Rambus. And lastly, Regeneron here. So not too many bright spots throughout the marketplace, but Regeneron is one of those areas that really has exposure to vaccines and things like that, but certainly difficult to trade in these environments. And so you want a tool that says, okay, well, how can I go ahead and pick my spots more efficiently? Again, we see here the trend. This is going back all the way to really the beginning of February. So you see that Regeneron gets a crossover to the upside, a lot of strength from the neural index suggesting this is a place to be. And you see that we've never gotten that cross to the downside. So the trend has consistently been up here. A couple of blips where the neural index goes bearish, and you get that sideways price action, again, trading below that predicted moving average, but still the trend very much to the upside. And again, we can come in with the help of those predictive tools and understand that, okay, well, if we're getting involved in this stock, where do we want to go ahead and do it? And you see just days like this are fantastic, where you get a gap down and then immediately trading higher. A little bit of volatility here, as you see you break a little bit lower, but look how quickly the tools adapt and say, okay, well, look, let's get, take in all that data, get back on track and say, okay, well, where are those predicted levels coming in so that you can keep executing, managing the position and, stick with that trade and really pull the most out of it. So Regeneron here marching much higher really over the last month and a half or so here, up 39% just in the past 21 trading days. So just some fantastic trading opportunities. And certainly, if you have a portfolio that's heavy, long the market, the software like this is really sending a very powerful signal that says, look, there's some weakness out there in the equity markets, in the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, all of these indices turning lower. And then when you run the scan, so actually we can use this IntelliScan feature and identify fresh crossovers and new opportunities that are coming through each and every trading day. And generally, a lot of these things share some very strong correlations, and you see a lot of similar stocks like Wells Fargo, Bank of New York, a lot of these things turning lower at the same time and really let you know, hey, there's some weakness here, and you want to go ahead and either get out of the way or take advantage of it and capture some of these, double-digit moves to the downside recently. So once again, this has been our Hot Stocks Outlook for March 6, 2020. Thank you all for watching. Best of luck, and bye for now.